Welcome, everyone, to another Fantasy Goodfellas video where Richard and I talk about the top 30 running backs for week 2. Richard, you ready?
Let's go.
The Fantasy Goodfellas.
Boom, boom, boom.
Rolling on the field.
The Fantasy Goodfellas. All right, before we get started, Richard, tell me how you did last week.
Well, last week, if you take out Elijah Mitchell and J.K. Dobbins, who didn't even play, we hit on 20 of 28 running backs, which is solid. Solid. We missed on Kamara, Ezekiel Elliott, Cam Akers, David Montgomery, Melvin Gordon, Travis Etienne, Rashaad Penny, and Damian Harris.
Before we get started, let me just explain what you should expect in this video. Richard's going to give his rankings, and I'm going to try to hold them accountable, but also share with you guys some cool and more interesting stats that you might find online. And hopefully this conversation gets heated. All right, Richard, line them up.
And number 1, we have Jonathan Taylor, who will be at Jacksonville. Great matchup for the best running back in football. At number 2, Austin Eckler at Kansas City. Austin Eckler had a subpar game by his standards in week 1. But now he plays Kansas City, a team with an amazing offense and a not-so-good defense. He's going to be in a shootout. I think Eckler is going to be just fine catching balls out of the backfield.
Last week in some rankings, Austin Eckler was outside the top 30. So I guess everybody expects him to bounce back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Like why should we rank him so high after a week in which, only probably in PPR leagues did he get into the top 30? Yeah, because he is good. Because he'll rebound. That it was definitely an aberration. He's going to have more good weeks than what he produced in week 1, no doubt. And number 3, we have Dalvin Cook at Philadelphia. So Dalvin Cook was okay in week 1, not super explosive, but Philadelphia, like I said, allowed a bunch of points from DeAndre Swift. I think Dalvin Cook and that Minnesota offense will definitely take advantage and do well. At number 4, we have Saquon Barkley, who'll be home against Carolina. I have my doubts about Saquon Barkley, but he looked great in week 1. I'll give him that. But he still has Daniel Jones as a quarterback. And number 5, Derrick Henry at Buffalo. I always love Derrick Henry, always has a super high floor because he always gets a lot of touches. And yes, he's up against a tough defense, but Henry will get his. At number 6, DeAndre Swift will be home against Washington. Another guy who we have to give the benefit of the doubt. Had a big week 1, and the Washington defense is all right, not amazing. At number 7, we have Christian McCaffrey at the New York Giants. Here's a guy who I think his fantasy value is dropping. He's currently number 7 on my list, but last week he was number 4. Again, is he back from injury? Is he 100%? How long is it going to get for him to be 100%? And is he going to get the usage? That's the other thing. Everybody expects him to get 50 touches a game. He might not get the usage. And don't forget, Baker Mayfield is his quarterback. Baker Mayfield. Oh. And number 8, we have Joe Mixon at Dallas. Joe Mixon's part of that super offense in Cincinnati. Started to have its issues with Pittsburgh, but they got it together toward the end. I think you're going to see that offense definitely at Dallas. That Dallas defense didn't look great against Tampa Bay. Last year they got a lot of turnovers, but they also allowed a lot of yards.
Joe Mixon had 27 attempts at 3 yards a carry. Do you expect him to continue to get that many attempts?
That is a lot of carries. I don't think he's going to be getting that many carries week to week, but he'll catch balls out of the backfield. And like I said, that offense is dynamic. They're going to score points. He'll get some touchdowns as well. And number 9, Nick Chubb will be home against the Jets. This is a good matchup, but we saw that Kareem Hunt also gets a lot of touches in that offense, but this is the formula for them to win as it was last year. At number 10, Leonard Fournette at New Orleans. Leonard Fournette, people were saying that, there was going to be a change in Tampa Bay. I didn't see it. He was still catching balls out of the backfield, still getting a bunch of touches. Clearly the running back one in Tampa Bay. At number 11, Alvin Kamara, who will be home against Tampa Bay. Alvin Kamara didn't look great week 1. Is he hurt? Is he 100%? We don't know, but we know what kind of running back Alvin Kamara is. So we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. At number 12, we have Javonte Williams, who will be home against Houston. It's a good matchup. We saw that offense. We saw Javonte Williams. He can run. Melvin Gordon, he can run. Russell Wilson looked good. Again, it was a loss, but they fumbled twice inside the 1, and they lost by 1 point. They lost the fumbles inside the 1. So unbelievable. But Russell Wilson had a good game. I believe in that Denver offense. At number 13, Aaron Jones, who will be home against the Bears. Aaron Jones, still explosive, can still make plays. Green Bay is going to look to rebound in a big way, and Aaron Jones is going to be a big part of that. And number 14, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who will be home against the Chargers. Well, Helaire got those touches in the red zone and scored. And we hope to see a lot more of that. It looks like he is RB1, and he's going to be used a lot in Kansas City, and we know what Patrick Mahomes and that offense can do. And number 15, James Conner at Las Vegas. Again, not a guy I'm huge on, but he continues to score touchdowns. They continue to give him the ball in the red zone. So have to rank him here. And number 16, Antonio Gibson at Detroit. Washington offense looking better. Gibson is moving up until Brian Robinson can come back, and then we'll see. But right now, Gibson's the guy in Washington in an offense that looks much improved. And number 17, Kareem Hunt against the New York Jets. Great matchup. There will be lots of points for both Chubb and Kareem Hunt. We saw what Hunt did week 1. I don't think he's going to do that every week, but he will have a good week again because of the Jets. And number 18, A.J. Dillon, who will be home against the Bears. A.J. Dillon's getting his share of touches, and he's getting touches in the red zone. He's the goal line back. There's a high floor for A.J. Dillon, and I think Green Bay will rebound big this week. And number 19, Cordarrelle Patterson at the LA Rams. You know, a lot of people discounted him, to include myself, but he is the running back one there in Atlanta. We saw how many touches he got. Damian Williams is middling, and it looks like Algier, the bright rookie that everybody loved, is not loved by the Atlanta coaching staff.
Hold on. Some other people have Patterson ranked lower. Why do you put him up so high compared to them?
Well, because he is the number one running back there on that team. It's a tough defensive matchup, but Cordarrelle Patterson does a lot. He also, he not only is a decent rusher, but he also catches balls out of backfield. He's quick, elusive. I think there's definitely potential there. At number 20, Najee Harris will be home against New England. Is Najee Harris, the reason why he's ranked this low is, will he play? They say right now it's not a big deal. He's got some sort of foot injury, but he should be able to play through it. This is what they say. But how much will it affect his play? We have to rank him a little lower, but not completely out of our top 30. And number 21, we have Ezekiel Elliott, who will be home against the Bengals. Zeke loses value with Dak Prescott's injury, but he does get a lot of touches. Everybody thought Pollard was going to be the guy this week, or thought it was going to be 50-50. Not the case. It's definitely the Ezekiel Elliott show. But how are they going to do with Cooper Rush at quarterback? And number 22, Rashaad Penny at San Francisco. We saw Geno Smith was able to run that offense in a good way, in a way that opened up some lanes for Rashaad Penny. So Penny, the undisputed running back one here in Seattle, up until Kenneth Walker is able to play. And number 23, we have Josh Jacobs, home against Arizona. Again, not a big fan of Josh Jacobs, but we just saw what Kansas City did to Arizona. I think the Las Vegas Raiders are going to put up a lot of points this week, and Josh Jacobs will probably get a touchdown. At number 24, we have David Montgomery at Green Bay. David Montgomery didn't look great, actually looked horrible. His backup, Khalil Herbert, did much better. I still think Montgomery's the number one guy on that team, but be careful. And much better matchup at Green Bay than San Francisco. We still got to give him the benefit of the doubt. At number 25, Darrell Henderson Jr., who will be home against Atlanta. It looks like we were all wrong about Cam Akers. Apparently, McVay wants Darrell Henderson to carry most of the load, unless there's an injury that we didn't know about with Cam Akers. It looks like Darrell Henderson's the number one guy, and that's not a beautiful thing. Darrell Henderson is limited, but still running back one on the Rams. Got to give him a little credit. And number 26, James Robinson, who will be home against Indianapolis. James Robinson had a great week one. Is he back 100%? We don't know. I can't make that determination yet, but just based on week one production, they're definitely going to use him. He outscored Travis Etienne. So I'm going to put him ahead of Etienne here. And again, the matchup is decent. And number 27, we have Chase Edmonds at Baltimore. A tough defensive matchup, but Chase Edmonds is the running back one with the Dolphins. Dolphins have a good offense. Again, Dungeon Master, Mike McDaniel running it.
I don't see why Chase Edmonds is high on your list. Tell me a little bit more, because 25 yards rushing, no TDs. What is it that you like about him?
I like that he got the most usage of any running back in Miami. And the Dolphins, again, they have a good offense now. Chase Edmonds did catch a lot of balls out of the backfield. He might not have rushed for much, but he also, in some PPR leagues, his value goes up. And with all this usage, there could potentially be touchdowns. At 28, we have Devin Singletary, who will be home against Tennessee. Well, what can you say about that Buffalo offense, right, with Josh Allen? Dynamic, it's going to put up points. Devin Singletary will get some touchdowns. And number 29, Melvin Gordon, who will be home against Houston. And we saw last week with Russell Wilson at the helm that Denver offense is going to be good. And Melvin Gordon will get his. Javonte Williams will get his. At number 30, we have Travis Etienne, who will be home against Indianapolis. Etienne didn't look as great as everybody thought he was, right? A lot of people were high on him. James Robinson, coming off of injury, scored more fantasy points. So we'll see where Travis Etienne is in this pecking order. But for now, he's still in our top 30.
Hold on, but you got to like the yards per carry. I think he had about 11.8 yards per carry. One of the ideas to give him more carries?
Yeah, but that's, he's getting the ball in open space. He's getting the ball, misdirection play. So it's different. Yeah, his numbers are going to be different if he's not running up the middle every time. But the whole point is the usage for Travis Etienne. He didn't get as much as everybody thought he was.
All right. Well, thanks, Richard, for coming on here and sharing your top 30 running back rankings for week 2. Now, I just want to say before we end this video, we see a lot of comments of people always trying to tell us we didn't rank a player good. Hey, if you want to put your money where your mouth is and submit your own rankings and compete against Richard, we can do that in our videos. Richard, would you mind anybody competing against you?
Absolutely not, man.
All right. Well,
the more the merrier.
Bring it on then. Those fantasy good fellas.
The ruling on the field.
Those fantasy good fellas.